Alright, welcome back everyone. Dr. Ben, not a real doctor here. And we're going to be talking about how I train to hold my breath for over 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 37 seconds is my max right now. And I'm going to share with you my process for getting to that point. The one thing that's really nice about breath hold training is it has a lot of benefits and you don't need much to do it. Now for me, I do use an app on my phone and we're going to go through getting that app. So first, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the App Store and you're going to want to scroll down to your little search bar and type in apnea trainer. Okay, now there are a bunch of these that are going to come up. You'll see over on the side of the screen which one it is. It's going to look like a hand reaching up for a light, and just download that. Now this will be the free version. There is a way you can upgrade it to Pro. It's a really handy app, and I use the Pro version and it's not for anything silly. The big difference between the Pro and the free version is that you can add charts, so you can add, basically we'll call them workouts, all right? They're called charts in the app, but they're basically breath hold workouts. You can have up to, I think it was 4 or 5 total, and 2 are fixed, you can't delete them, up to 5 total. And if you don't mind going in and updating your charts all the time, it's not a big deal. But here's the real reason why I went Pro. While I was initially practicing with this software, the way that it's free is that they run ads at the bottom. Sometimes the program would try and load an app and the program would hiccup when the ad was loading. And I would either be getting ready to start my breath hold or in the middle of my breath hold and the program would freeze. So I started to not trust that the time on the program was accurate and felt the need to keep checking my phone while I was doing a breath hold to make sure the time was accurate. Not a situation I really liked, so I just paid, I think it was like $3 to get the Pro version, and I also get the benefit of being able to have as many charts as I want, so I can just keep adding as many as I need to. Now, let's talk a little bit, we'll go into charts in just a second, but let's talk a little bit how to establish a good baseline for you. So when you hold your breath, you want to be comfortable, and I recommend laying down. You can sit if you want, but you're going to be doing more work maintaining your posture, which is going to affect how long you can hold your breath. You want to be as relaxed as possible, so I recommend laying down. And what you want to do is you just want to get nice and relaxed, breathe normally, breathe all the air out that you can, and then take as big a breath as you can. Start your timer and hold your breath for as long as you can. Make a note of that number. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be 15 seconds or it could be 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. Make a note of that number. That is going to be your current maximum breath hold time. And that's what we're going to use to build your first chart. So we're going to go into the app here real quick, and I'm just going to show you how to build a chart real fast. All right, so you've got the menu up top. You're going to hit the menu and you're going to go to tables. All right, you're going to click add new. We're going to add new. Looks like the light version now only lets you have 3 tables. So another reason if you want to go to Pro to go to Pro. All right, and you're going to set your initial time. We're going to go conservative, okay? 60% of that maximum time you just hit. So whatever that number is, that's where you're going to start. 60% of the maximum hold you just had. And there's a good reason for that. We will set that up. I'll explain that in just a minute when you're done with your chart. Okay, so set that maximum. And then you're going to set the breathing time. This is the rest time between breath holds. And I recommend for now just starting with a minute. If you're in a relatively long breath hold for your first, you can go 1:30. The point of this rest time right now is to allow your nervous system a chance to relax and recover. Most of you, your breath holds, you're going to be fully recovered in less than 30 seconds. So anything above that is just allowing your nervous system to relax and recover. So a minute, 1:30, something like that. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the top right corner and hit the plus button 3 times so that you've got 4 rounds going on. So you can see, if we can make this work, I've got 3 minutes here right? And then a minute 30 hold. And we're doing 4 rounds of that. And that's where you're gonna start with your first chart. This is gonna allow you to start comfortably. Much of learning to hold your breath isn't actually physiological adaptation. It's training your brain to be calm in a stressful situation. So if you're regularly holding your breath a really long time and you are not ready for that, if your nervous system is freaking out, if you're panicking, if you're melting down, it's not going to be beneficial to you, all right? You want this to be a gradual process where you allow your nervous system to adjust over time. Now, I'm going to take you through my process of 1 round of breath holding, just so you guys can see how I do this. So step 1, you're going to find a comfortable place and lay down. If you need blankets, if you need to undress, if you need to, whatever you need to do to get comfortable, do that. Take a little bit of time to relax and unwind and get settled into that position. You don't want to go right into your practice after a whole bunch of fudging around, all right? Once you are comfortable, you're going to go into your app, go to your table, and you're going to press play. Now you can adjust in the app how long your prep time is. I just leave it on the standard 1 minute. So it's going to go through a minute countdown, right? It's going to give you 30 seconds left, then it's going to give you 20 seconds left, and then it's going to give you 10 seconds left, and then it'll give you a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right? At the end of that countdown, it's going to start your breath hold time. What I do is when you get to the 20-second mark, I take a slow inhale. Not a breath hold inhale, just slow my breathing down. And then when I get to the 10-second mark, I exhale as completely as possible. Then when I get to the 5-second countdown, I take the biggest breath I can possibly take. As soon as that breath hold starts, as soon as the time starts counting down, I immediately think release and enjoy. Release and enjoy. And what I'm trying to do is get my entire body to go as relaxed as possible. If you have any muscle tension at all, that's extra tension, that's extra metabolism your body's using that you are burning oxygen up for. So the more relaxed your muscles are, the less oxygen your body is going to use. And the goal is to maintain that relaxation throughout the breath hold. There will come a point where the breath hold stops being comfortable. All right, you're going to start, maybe you may even start to feel a little panicked. All right, this is why we're starting with a significantly shorter breath hold than your maximum time. And that is so that your brain can get used to that experience of higher carbon dioxide levels building up in your body. Most of you are not going to be oxygen deficient by the end of your time. You're going to have plenty of oxygen in your body. What's going to be making your brain panic is going to be higher carbon dioxide levels than you're used to. And that's going to be telling you you need to breathe. Remember that you cannot hurt yourself doing this laying on your couch, laying on your floor, sitting in a chair. If you were doing this in water, you could die. Do not do this in water. Do not do this in water. Again, do not do this in water. Okay. Sitting on your couch, sitting in a chair, laying on the floor, laying on a couch, anything. You cannot hold your breath long enough to do damage to you. Your brain will take over and force you to breathe before that happens. So you can hold your breath as long as you want. You're not going to hurt yourself. When you start feeling that panic sensation, that's when it's extra important to take charge and further relax. Relax into the discomfort. If you're getting to the point where you're starting to feel diaphragm contractions, you'll see in my video here, I am feeling diaphragm contractions. Don't try to fight the diaphragm contractions. Don't try to stop the diaphragm contractions. Instead, think slowly, gently, and try and make the diaphragm contractions be as smooth, as slow, and as small as possible. And the reason for that is the bigger, the more forceful the diaphragm contractions are, the more oxygen your diaphragm is going to consume. So you want to try and smooth this out, make it gentle and enjoyable. At the end of your 2.5 minutes, you're going to hear a breathe take a nice big deep breath or exhale, whatever you feel the need to do. You're probably going to feel the need to exhale and then breathe right back in. If you can, try and exhale through your nose. Maintain nasal breathing as you come back up to a normal CO2 level. If you feel the need to just then that's fine, but try and recover breathing through your nose. Start building that habit. It's going to help you in everyday life. Real quick, we'll talk about the 3 phases of breath holding. First is the comfort zone. This is where you take a deep breath, you're nice and relaxed, you're not feeling like you need to breathe, you're feeling pretty good. A lot of times, my brain's going, oh man, I could do this all day, this is so nice. That's the comfort zone. After the comfort zone comes the transition zone, and that's when your body's starting to go, hey, wait a minute, these CO2 levels are getting a little high, we should be breathing, I really want to breathe. Let's talk about breathing. And at this point, you might start to feel a little restless. You might start feeling your throat doing some stuff. You may start to feel your diaphragm contracting a little bit, and your body is going to start making you more uncomfortable. And this is going to build over time, all right? The longer you stay in this transition zone, the more uncomfortable it's going to become. And then the final phase is the fight phase. And this is where the contractions are really intense, you're feeling really restless, you're really uncomfortable, it's just a miserable place to be. And your body is it's going to start playing mind games with you, it's going to start showing you things, it's going to start convincing you that you absolutely have to breathe. This is the most unpleasant phase to be in, this is the phase that's really hard to mentally get yourself through, just because frankly, it's one of the most unpleasant things I've done in my life, and I've done some things. So I recommend you stay out of the fight phase when you're getting used to this. Now, as for when to practice this, how often to practice this, and all that, I highly, highly, highly recommend you start first thing in the morning. As soon as you get up, your metabolism's going to be lower, your stress level's going to be lower, you haven't eaten, you haven't really done any physical activity, so it's going to be much easier for you to drop into a relaxed state. If you do it in the middle of the day, it's going to be harder on you, you're going to have a shorter hold time, and if you vary between when you do your breath hold practice, between morning and evening, and you're changing all around, you're going to have a very different experience. I highly, highly recommend that you practice this at the same time every day. My preference is first thing in the morning. How often to do this? If you want to see progress, I recommend a minimum of 3 times a week. Every single day to build the habit especially, and to get in the swing of this is going to be really beneficial for you. You're going to see results much more quickly. So I recommend every day. Set aside 10 or 15 minutes first thing in the morning to just do it, and start building that habit and start building those adjustments within your brain and eventually within your physiology. Now, how do you scale this up? I recommend spending 2 or 3 days at your initial 60%. See how that feels. It's likely that this is going to start to feel easier for you relatively quickly. I do not recommend making big jumps fast. Remember, we're doing like little incremental gradual steps to build up your resistance to carbon dioxide. So every 3 to 7 days, add 5 seconds to your holds. All right, we're not running a sprint, this is a marathon. Add 5 seconds to your holds. And don't worry about retesting your maximum right now. It really doesn't matter, it's just a set point. Unless you really want to know what your maximum is, test your maximum every 2 months, all right? When you're first starting, you can test it every 4 weeks. After that, you're going to see much more gradual progress. If you've been doing this for 3 or 4 months, test it once every 2 months. Me personally, I don't really care what my maximum hold is, because I'm not trying to set any records, I'm not doing free diving, I'm not doing any of that stuff. I just incrementally increase my time. Occasionally I'll push out further. I'm probably here in the next couple weeks I'll do a 5-minute hold, which will be a new best for me, but that will not be a maximum hold attempt. So maybe once or twice a week, add 5 seconds to your hold time. Every once in a while, maybe every 3 weeks, really test yourself, make a big jump, 20 or 30 seconds, and just do one hold at 20 or 30 seconds. That's the real goal of breath hold training, is to learn to calm your nervous system into stressful situations. The side benefit of all that is you're going to get increased tolerance to carbon dioxide. You're going to get more robust vascular structures within the brain. And you're going to get the calming, relaxing sensation at the end of the practice, because, man, once you've done 3 or 4 rounds of holding your breath for 3 or 4 minutes, you really feel like nothing in the world can shake you. It's a meditative practice. And that is how I practice breath hold training. I don't use hyperventilation. It's just breathe out, breathe in, hold. I don't use hyperventilation training because you're tricking your nervous system by dropping your CO2 levels really, really low so that you can hold your breath longer. The problem with that is, having experimented with just breathing out and holding and hyperventilation, the comfort zone is longer. You're more comfortable longer. However, the transition zone is very, very short, and the fight phase is very, very long. I have found the diaphragm contractions to be absolutely miserable. Miserable, like so miserable that I was worried about tearing some things inside my body. The contractions were so intense when I do it's called breathing up, when I hyperventilate before a breath hold. It's just not worth it to me. It also raises the risk of things like shallow water blackout if you are using these techniques to do things like free diving. So my preference and my recommendation is, don't practice breath holding with hyperventilation, just practice static breath holding. I'm really excited to share this with you guys. This has become a major part of my daily life. So I'm really excited to hear what you guys think. If this helps you, if you can put this into practice, if you would like to get a little bit more information on taking more control over your breathing, I do have an online course called Practical Breathwork on my website. Put a link down below. Well, there's always a link below. If you would like to check out Erwan LaCour's online breath hold training class, there'll be a link down below for that as well. If you have stories about your own breath hold training, I would love to hear. I would love to hear how you guys practice. I would love to hear your benefits. I would love to hear what you think of breath hold training. Comments down below. If you like the video, smash that thumbs up. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, share it with them. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Until next time, keep your life in motion.